And joining us now is former Senator Delima, the spokesperson for the complainants in the first impeachment bid against Vice President Sara Duterte. Attorney Delima, good morning to you.
Good morning, Karen, and good morning to your viewers.
All right, first, what do you make of the Iglesia ni Cristo rally set for today? You have some sectors saying that essentially it's an effort to protect the vice president.
I certainly agree. Let's call spade spade, because they said that it's a rally for peace and unity, and then to support. And they also said that it is in support of PBBM's position that impeachment would not be proper at this point. You know, that he's against impeachment. So it's basically and essentially a pro VP Sara and anti-impeachment action. So, let's see. Because we have to tie this up to the survey results. The survey results clearly say that most Filipinos would prefer impeaching VP Sara at this point, as against the position that, that you just let it go. Let go all these allegations against VP Sara. So, yes, this INC rally may be able to really have great numbers on the streets for purposes of that supposedly peace and unity. But it's still supporting a minority position. And no matter how massive the crowds would be, it's still a minority. A minority position is a minority. So I'm not sure whether such an action would have much effect on the disposition of the members of Congress, especially the House of Representatives, because of course the members of the House of Representatives would also think about the survey results. So unless the INC would back up its rally with the threat not to deliver the so-called block votes to pro-impeachment congressmen, then I'm not seeing much effect of this action in order to push for the impeachment of VP Sara.
Okay, now, Attorney Delima, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian says this rally would make politicians, and I'll read the code, and government officials think twice about supporting the impeachment against her.
Well, that's the problem, Karen. No, why would the rest of the political spectrum be thinking about that okay, let's leave it at that. I mean, the INC says it is a peace and unity rally, but we all know that it's just a subterfuge. That is what they're saying, but actually it's pro VP Sara. Now, it all depends now on the members of Congress. Alin bang mas matingkad dyan? Yung magiging epekto o yung makikita nila na magiging reaction ng INC, or is it about upholding the principles of transparency and accountability, and especially upholding the rule of law and the Constitution? So I don't find it really proper to be equating it to that. The perceived pressure that the INC as a religious sect can have on the members of Congress. It's a sad reality. And as I said, it could only be the minority position at this point. We see the survey results. So how can a minority group espousing a minority position hold that sway, can have that sway over most members of Congress?
And also not just most members of Congress, but based on the survey, the majority of Filipinos.
Certainly, majority of Filipinos, 41%, as again 35%, and then the undecided, which is 19%. And if we look at the geographical areas, the northern Luzon and the southern Luzon in the surveys, well, it has the highest rate it on in terms of pro impeachment. So that's 53% and 52%. So clearly, Luzon and Visayas, majority of the many Filipinos, most Filipinos are for impeachment. Sa Mindanao lang ang hindi, which is 22% as against 56% against impeachment. But then again, for a bailiwick, for a Duterte bailiwick like Mindanao, 22% seems high. So I see, I don't think there is any doubt as to the pulse of the people, especially the middle class, especially the classes A, B, C, and the middle class can very well also hold sway and influence the class D. And because all it takes is further explanation, advocacy as to the legitimacy of the grounds for impeachment.
But I think we should clarify that what you just said is 22% surveyed in Mindanao
Yes.
prefer or believe she should be impeached.
No, yes, 22%. Yes,
Oo.
should be impeached.
Oo, at sinasabi po ninyo mataas yon because bailiwick na nga nila ang Mindanao.
Certainly. That's
Oo.
correct, Karen.
Okay.
22% is high for a bailiwick.
Okay.
So napapakita nito yung general attraction ng mga tao in favor of impeachment, in favor of accountability.
Okay, now, Attorney Delima, there are 3 impeachment complaints in the lower house. It has not yet been acted upon. They're waiting for the 4th. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we can see that there is delay already in the impeachment process, in the commencement of the impeachment process. And what was announced by the Secretary General is that because some congressmen are still need time. But I think enough time had elapsed from the time that the 3 impeachment complaints have been filed. That's early December for us, for the first group of complainants, and followed by these 2 groups. Now they say that there is a 4th group, although we were expecting that last Monday, a week ago. And this is now the resumption of the congressional session, and they should act speedily. Dahil time is of the essence. We can see that ideally the whole impeachment process, from the consideration in the House of Representatives, whether it is through committee hearings or plenary proceedings before the House, if they are eyeing the faster mode, that is 1/3. And we also prefer that, the faster mode, and then including the trial and the conviction, hopefully. Now, ideally, it has to happen within this Congress, 19th Congress. Because, well, even if we can argue na pwede pa rin, let's say, dito, at this point, umpisahan na yung impeachment process at the House of Representatives level. We don't know whether it would really take much time. It all depends on the action of the House of Representatives. Now, election season is here, campaign period is here. It might really further add to the time element, the time constraints. Now, then, if pwede rin na to continue the whole impeachment process, let's say tapusin muna sa House level within the 19th Congress, and then the rest of the proceedings, meaning the sending of the complaint and of the resolution and the articles of impeachment to the Senate, and as the impeachment court, and then trial would proceed there. Some are saying that pwede pa yun, because this is a special mandate of Congress. So even if the whole proceedings would not be completed within this 19th Congress, it can still be continued in the next Congress, the 20th Congress, without starting from the first step, which is the filing of the complaint itself, which would be covered by the 1-year ban. So, kasi we can argue that this is a special duty, a special mandate of Congress, separate and distinct from its core mandate of lawmaking. But of course, we anticipate that that issue would reach the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court says that it's no longer possible or it's not constitutional to proceed with the process or the proceedings which was started in the 19th Congress, to proceed with it in the 20th Congress, then we have to start from scratch. And then there might be no momentum anymore, Karen, because the issues surrounding VP Sara are still quite hot and alive at this point. We have the momentum. It's backed up by the survey results. So why waste it by further delaying it, and then we don't know anymore what would happen after the election in May. So those are the concerns of the filers of the complaint.
Okay, now are you seeing the upcoming elections affecting the speed and the process of the impeachment complaints?
It might derail, although it all depends on them. Although it should be impressed upon them that this is a constitutional duty, and they have to really take it very seriously. They can find time if they want to. Pwede naman pag-usapan yan, anong mga araw. Pwede naman continuous ang proceedings. And that's why it's very important for us, what is now the stand of most in the members in the House of Representatives. Can they now have the 1/3 vote, and then without going through the committee level hearings? Sila na mismo ang tumingin dun sa mga ebidensya, and then if they're convinced about the legitimacy of the grounds, and then they now think of which are exactly the articles of impeachment, because they can choose from among the articles of impeachment that are embodied in the 3 complaints. So they can choose for themselves, and they can finalize that, and they can convert that into a formal resolution and formal articles of impeachment, requiring lesser time than when it would go through the committee level. So kaya pa kung gugustuhin. But with the passage of each day, time is ticking. So lesser ang nagiging chance na matatapos lahat ito before the next Congress.
Yeah. So actually, this is a call on Congress to act fast, because the 3 impeachment complaints sitting there, and now you have the Iglesia ni Cristo holding a peace rally. So you have outside elements also moving against the impeachment complaint. So it's either sino ang magwawagi, right? If you make it too long, it's possible you actually lose the momentum.
Exactly, Karen. And that's why they really have to be conscious of that. The time is of the essence. There are clear grounds. There are legitimate grounds. All they have to do also is to check their own records or their hearings. These are all recorded. The findings about the Intel confidential funds, and then the threats of VP Sara against the president and the First Lady and the Speaker. These are all seen, and these are very public, and there are records, there are video about those threats, so they can do it. They can really go through and opt for the faster mode if they want to. Although,
Okay.
Karen, I think the real problem is the certainty or uncertainty of votes in the Senate.
Mm-mm.
We do not know that yet. We
Mm.
are confident about the House votes. I mean, we think that enough number of the members of the House of Representatives would be persuaded to vote in favor of impeachment. But we do not have really enough information about what exactly is the sentiment of the majority of the members of the Senate. By the way,
Well,
yes,
no,
Karen.
I think it's, I mean, when it comes to the Senate, it's quite important that they hear it fairly, right? I mean, that
Yes,
they don't decide just out of political alliances. Because at the end of the day, when the evidence should speak for itself too.
yes, Karen. That's true because it's a court. It's an
Yeah,
impeachment court.
yeah.
So there has to be rule of law. There has to be what formality of proceedings. There has to be presentation of evidence by the prosecution and deliberations by the members of the Senate. So, they should look at the evidence. Essentially, it is a court, an impeachment court. There would be rules also of the trial, special rules of the trial, and then the rules of court or the rules of evidence would be suppletory in character. So, but that's it. In order to go to that stage, there's got to be definitive action on the level of the House of Representatives.
Yeah. All right. So, would you still want a consolidation of the three impeachment complaints at this point?
Yes, it would be more convenient. It would be more convenient for orderly proceedings at the House committee level if that would be the scenario, that all three complaints, consolidated complaints, would be referred to the House Committee on Justice. Then for faster and more orderly proceedings, this can be consolidated. Anyway, there are really common grounds. And then the most common, of course, which are touched in all three complaints, is the ground on betrayal of public trust.
Yeah.
Because in reality, Karen, all these other grounds, the culpable violation of the Constitution, bribery, graft and corruption, high crimes, these are actually, they all constitute betrayal of public trust if all of these are proven. If all those grounds, if all those articles of impeachment are proven, this constitute betrayal of public trust. So all three complaints would have that as a ground. Now, as to the specific grounds, the specific articles of impeachment, that's when the House of Representatives has to choose which they think are the strongest grounds to tackle.
All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank you for joining me today as we talk about this. Attorney Laila Delima, thank you. So if I were to ask you just very quickly, you have Filipinos already proceeding to the INC rally, to the Quirino Grandstand. Do you believe this will have an impact on the future of the impeachment complaints?
Well, no matter, as I said earlier, Karen, no matter how massive or big in numbers that rally would turn out to be, it's still reflective of the minority position for the rest of the Filipinos. So I don't think it would have much impact. Perhaps in terms of optics, perhaps in terms of initial political play or political impact, it would have a certain degree of influence, but not the whole thing. The reality is, as the surveys say, many or most Filipinos prefer impeachment. That is the majority position. That is the pulse of the nation.